Regal Movie Masters. Unlimited.
This is the Regal Movie Masters Unlimited podcast where we indiscriminately watch every goddamn movie that comes out at the local theaters. Your movie masters today are Justine.
Hi.
Brent.
Hello.
Dylan.
What's up?
And I'm Colin. We got a Joker's Wild 4-pack. There's not 4 jokes. I'm just going to get something else entirely.
2
right?
Jokers.
2 Jokers.
4 suits.
4 of a kind. 4 pairs.
4 pairs.
Yeah. And they got 4 movies. We're looking at The Equalizer 3, Bottoms, The Good Mother, and The Hill this week. As always, everything is going to be very spoiled. So this is your warning right now. That you've been warned officially. We do have an email address in which you can contact us. The address is moviemasters760@gmail.com. If you have any comments, questions, suggestions, etc., hit that email, moviemasters760@gmail.com. How's everyone doing? Everyone good?
It's hot.
Yeah, that is. You know why? Because we got the Equalizer 3 has been equalizing all over the place. And now there's just so much global warming because of all of the equalizing he's been doing. The Equalizer was directed by Antoine Fuqua, starring Denzel Washington. It's the story of this guy. He was equalizing all over the place for 2 movies. Mm-hmm. This time he's settling down in a really nice looking area. It's the Amalfi Coast in Italia. And he's he was there. He did a real quick
Equalizing.
Yeah, he equalized a Syrian drug ring real quick, just to get you in the mood to whet your palate for some equalizing. And then he got hurt in that, and by a little kid, they Omar'd him from in The Wire. A little kid shot him.
Spoilers.
So that puts him in the Amalfi Coast. The doctor.
Sorry, you just now started The Wire.
Yeah. Well, hey, listen, you've had time. You've been warned.
Oh, yeah, we didn't tell them that we spoil TV shows from 20 years ago.
Everything in the world.
It's the Equalizer. Everyone's getting equalized. Anyways, so he's hurt. He's on the coast and he's finding home there. But then he's got an itching.
He sees some bad things.
Got some things that don't sit well with him. And if you know my man Denzel in these movies, he just he doesn't like it. He's got to equalize. And so lo and behold, he just starts equalizing out all over the place in this little Italian town, just totally equalizing these little Italian mobsters who are just trying to make a living. It's kind of funny. It is. And everyone in the movie, they're just like, hey, this is our culture here. These guys, they just take a piece of the pie and they, rough people up and they do small town mob stuff.
But it's getting worse because they're bringing drugs in.
Right.
And they're buying up all the property and pushing out the local people.
Yeah, they want a hotel. Oh, man, that was a beautiful scene. There's very typical, I can't sell. I grew up here. And they're like, don't worry about it. Well, it's not a problem.
The lawyers will handle this.
Next scene, they're throwing a guy in a wheelchair out the window.
They tie a noose around his neck and then push him and his wheelchair out the window. The wheelchair falls down to the ground, but the guy is still hanging. It's so unnecessary.
Yeah, it's worth noting, I guess, maybe that's a segue to say this is a huge ramp up in violence compared to the previous 2 Equalizer films.
Which were violent.
Of course, yeah. I felt like they were kind of like a diet John Wick. Guy doesn't like what he sees, doesn't like the disrespect he sees around him, and then he, equalizes shit. There's off-screen equalizing going on in those movies. And it should be noted that the Equalizer itself, the first one came out in 2014, and it was kind of a revitalization of the series, the TV series, which ran from 85 to 89.
Whoa.
And then, who did the theme song for the Equalizer television show?
Danzig.
Stuart Copeland. And it was the theme of it is called Busy Equalizing, which is so goddamn funny to me. Maybe not anyone else. And then the second Equalizer comes out in 2018. And then to complicate matters, Queen Latifah stars in a reboot of the Equalizer TV series, which is still running and doing well. So There's not really a monopoly. There's a Equalizer book series.
Wow.
Yeah, it's the original writer who did the TV show in the 80s. He's got 3 novels under his
And
belt.
then he grabs a shot glass and pushes it through a guy's eye.
Yeah, it's not even comic book form. You have to just imagine the violence.
Yeah.
Which I guess it could be better in your head.
Yeah, I wanted to throw together some kind of like lukewarm take about this being like kind of post-pandemic male fantasy stuff, because if you see,
Holy shit, where are you going with this?
I mean, well, if you track the equalizing and the level of violence in the equalizing that happened in the previous 2 films, it's the same director,
Antoine Fuqua.
yeah, Anton Fuqua, who's like a cool. I didn't know he was he's done a lot of really cool movies. He did The Training Day, which of course kind of puts him on the map with old Denzel. And yeah, these are cool movies. Like the previous 2 have been like 50 to 60 million budget. This one's like, I think 75 million. They're not too bloated. They make reasonable, respectable returns. This is all to say, like the violence getting ramped up aggressively. I mean, we're talking like, what's the shot of the film where he punches through a guy's
With the
face?
pistol?
Yeah, with the pistol.
And then he
starts shooting
spins it
guys.
around and starts shooting through the... Yes.
There's not, that equalizing isn't there in the previous entries, which,
Okay.
I mean, listen, I always felt like the post 9/11 takes were always pretty weak too. Like, oh, this is a post 9/11 movie. It's about people bringing their masculinity back or whatever the fuck. But if I have to just guess what happened between Equalizer 2 and Equalizer 3 and what might I don't know, just ramp up the aggression in the franchise, it's a lukewarm take. I don't agree with this take.
I'm going to go with maybe they ramped up the violence to counter the increasing age of the star. Because it's 71 now. So
It's
like
just John Wick.
Yeah, could
but
be that. Yeah, it
but
could be a
John Wick
effect.
was
That's a good call.
already happening.
I know,
They're-
but then everyone was like, "Oh, we love John Wick," and they were like, well, "Okay, well,
okay, if you guys like this,
yeah."
That's a
suppose
warmer
so.
take.
Yeah, but either way, there is definitely a tonal difference.
I think the second one is pretty close.
Okay.
I feel like the way that I feel about the Fast and Furious movies,
Like they
which
just
is
keep
just like,
getting
okay,
sillier.
yeah, they just keep getting crazier and crazier.
That's not to say that it like hurt the movie.
Yeah.
I mean, it makes it impossible to take seriously as far as instead of just being incredibly far-fetched. I mean, it's silly. It's a kindly old gentleman just exacting brutal revenge on everything around him. It's like the yin to falling down yang. That's the whole franchise. But when you start seeing like heads blow up and people in wheelchairs get pushed out of buildings, it starts to get a little like, I don't know, less grounded. But I mean, overall, I feel like this is a fun watch. I think the series is pretty fun. I'm fine with it. It's I mean, not that this is beginning, middle, and end to everything, but a black director and a black lead and a franchise that keeps going, like, and is popular with people, has an international appeal. Denzel is still cool to me. I don't know if I'm like of a certain age group where it's like Denzel is cool. That was just like pitched to me my whole life, so I'm just going to keep thinking that.
Well, of all the senior citizen action movies, meaning like Indiana Jones, Mission Impossible, I think there was probably a couple others this year that I'm forgetting off the cuff, but I think Denzel threads the needle because he has something, on screen that's like perhaps more charismatic than an aging Tom Cruise.
I think you're doing my man Tom Cruise dirty. I'm not going to let you get away with that.
Denzel's not that old.
I mean, he's just 71.
71.
That's what he said.
He's not 900 years old like
Yeah,
Harrison
decrepit.
Ford.
Yeah, but you know what I mean? Like traditionally, when people cross over in their 60s and 70s in film, they start taking, more mature roles versus
Right.
just like, I'm going to jab a fucking pistol through a guy's eye, spin him around, and start shooting other dudes.
Well, I think that was kind of the
Or Sylvester Stallone with that first Rambo
remake.
reboot.
Yeah.
Yeah, like maybe kind of got that going.
There is a parallel there for sure. But even in the first one, I think the kind of joke was, not joke, but the premise is he's like,
Normal guy.
yeah, over the hill. And he's like, you see him lacing up the New Balance and, going to work at Home Depot. It's like a very kind of cliche old guy stuff. So you don't expect him to just start equalizing like he does. And then when he does, it's fun to see. And this is 10 years after that movie. So, given the premise that the movie started with, I don't think
Yeah.
he's like exempt from it. Or
It's
whatever.
a strange arc because I mean, like, even though I'm not at 60 or 70 yet, I find myself feeling less inclined toward violence the older and older I get.
Right.
So is he, but he just
I know.
He just keeps getting pulled
He,
back in.
he
okay.
tries so hard.
He really does. He just wants a quiet little life. But man, if there aren't some jerks out there.
And they just need equalizing. And it's carried with such coolness, and he tries very hard to get out of the violence. The violence is like a last resort in these movies,
Yeah.
but there is a lot of it.
Yeah.
And it's for the greater good and everything. It's fine. It has a dusting of the kindness power fantasy that we were kind of outlining with like Jules and those kind of movies where A Man Called Otto, kindness power fantasies. At the heart of it, it's that, except there is a lot of over the top violence.
I can't buy any other. If you would have put any other person in that role other than Denzel, I don't think I would have liked it as much. And
Yeah,
I'm not even a Denzel fan. I just think that his charisma gets away with, or helps him get away with so much more than other actors would.
Justine, you want to hit him with the iconic line?
I don't want to spoil it for you.
No one. Who else could deliver that? Who else could deliver that?
That was nice.
And it's, of course, I think that groundwork is kind of laid in Training Day to an extent where it's like, I'm a cool guy, but I'm very dangerous. And you're going to kind of be more afraid of me as this movie goes on and get kind of uncomfortable.
I think they edited out or they just didn't use his trademark laugh in the movie, but it's in the trailer.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, they want to put butts in seats, but they don't want to, what do
Yeah.
you call it, interfere with the art.
Yep.
He doesn't laugh. There is a lot less like downtime in this one.
Right.
It's just so full of him doing wild stuff that you
Yeah.
can't really fit it in. But there is like a bunch. In the other ones, I was just realizing, like in the first one, he's like sitting in a cafe a bunch.
Right.
What's the one where there's like a kid doing a mural?
That's the second one
Okay,
where he
there's a
teaches
lot.
a young man to stay out of gangs and learn
Yes.
about the power of art.
Yes.
That's so cool.
And,
I gotta watch that.
So yeah, he's like in the community a lot.
Hell yeah.
And then this one, I guess he's like there. But
Yeah.
Hey, they welcomed him into. He said they came up to him and said, "You are one of us now." During the movie on the side of the building.
yeah. So the way that you have off-screen equalizing in the other ones, you have
Right.
off-screen
Bonding.
community bonding
Right.
in this one.
Yeah, you just have to take, just like you just take them at their word that an
Yeah.
equalizing has occurred in the previous films, whether or not you see the equalizing or not.
You
This
see the
one,
effects.
yes. This one, you just have to assume that he's, bonding with the people while Dakota Fanning is learning about her stuff.
Oh, that was Dakota Fanning.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's
Yeah, and
cool.
That speaking of the ramping up, he helps a girl, an escort, right?
Yeah,
like out of
that's-
some trouble in the
That's in the
first
first
one.
movie, yeah.
And then in the second one, there's like some gangs, and
Well, the second one, his friend gets killed by this like international cartel of people, but the lady who gets killed in the second one is the mom of Dakota Fanning in this one.
Yeah.
Boom! Didn't see
Is that
that
what
one
the
coming.
flashback is?
Yes.
Yeah, I picked it up.
That's them
Yeah.
connecting the deep lore of the Equalizer saga.
And the fourth one will probably pass it along to the guy that got the.
Yeah, that he rescued from the
Yeah,
gang.
yeah,
That would be
yeah,
good.
yeah,
They could do for the new Equalizer.
that boy.
But the Equalizer did spend time like in the CIA.
Yeah,
before
he has to
got
do a
out.
lot of training
Yeah,
before that.
you can't just start equalizing out the gate. You gotta do some legwork.
But so he's dealing with like gang stuff and like international, I don't know, mobs or something. And then in the third one, he's dealing with terrorists, international, like CIA stuff.
The
and,
literal mafia.
Yeah, drug stuff.
Yeah. So in the opening Equalizing, oh my God, I forgot how like the punchline of all of this. So in the opening Equalizing, he breaks up this Italian drug ring, and they are importing drugs from Syria. they are, and they say this phrase, jihad drugs.
Yeah.
That they are the ISIS. They take these drugs and they
They're
turn down
hopped up.
crackheads. They
Yep.
turn down to monsters.
You don't know how it is out there, man.
And so, it's very important that they break up this ring. But really what's happening is the Syrians are trading them. They're branded drugs. They sell them drugs with the little crescent moon and star on them. So you know that it's the good stuff. Mm-hmm. And the mafia has been selling them in the small town. And bro, the Equalizer just got there. He's not going to stand for that.
What were you thinking?
Yeah. No. And he calls Homeland Security, who Dakota Fanning works for. And then she, helps. She's, doing equalizing in her way. She breaks up that ring, traces the money, blah, blah, blah. Then at the end of the movie, basically, Denzel's like, okay, take this money and give it to this guy back in America who was like a contractor whose money, his pension got depleted by hackers who were connected to the original guy who was doing the drug smuggling. And so this whole thing
He accidentally stumbled into.
He had a few extra minutes. He decided to log on, check his email, and he saw an open tab, and he's like, wait a minute.
the whole, oh wait, and not only that, I think, if I'm not crazy, the only reason he got that money back for that guy, or the only reason Denzel is connected to the guy whose pension got hacked, was because he was buying books from them from a bookstore. Am I crazy? Or was that the second one?
That's the second one.
That's the second one?
Girl he saved.
So I don't even know what his connection is to. Oh, no. He gave him a Lyft ride. He works for Lyft.
Oh, yeah.
And the guy just explained to him, yeah, I got my pension hacked. And he's like, noted.
Sounds like a job for.
So he goes, so the real, you don't see, it's not laid out like this in the movie. You don't know about the pension thing till the very end.
He could have taken millions, but instead he took the exact amount, which is like $347,000.26 or something like that. Yeah.
And
put
had
it in a backpack.
And had that sent back after breaking up the drug ring, the ISIS-funded drug ring, after breaking up the mafia. He sends Dakota Fanning to bring the money, the pension guy's money back. And that's why all of this happened. It's because they hacked this guy's pension fund.
I'm going to go get your money and then do some other stuff.
Dylan, was there enough murders in this movie for you?
Murders?
Yeah, did you like the murders?
Oh, yeah, the murders were cool.
I thought the murders were pretty cool.
Bunch of guys getting hit by cars randomly.
Yeah, I love that scene. That was
twice.
sick.
So you see a guy get hit with a car, and you're like, "Well, that's all. That fills the quota of violent car hits." And then it happens again, just fucking cuz. And
it's a driving culture over there, So.
And are you like, "Oh, well, things happen in 3, so is there a third?" No, just twice.
Just twice.
Not twice. Yeah. And I mean, it was pretty fucking sick, honestly.
Yeah. Did you have a favorite murder?
The pistol getting thrown into or being pushed in that dude's eye.
So good, right off the bat too. So it sets the hook, and you're like, okay, I'm in. Even though I hadn't seen any Equalizer TV show or movie before I went and watched this, I was like, yep, I'm watching this. I was psyched.
Very Punisher Warzone energy. Would you say?
Yeah. When those are happening,
yeah.
Because in Warzone, it's happening every 5 seconds,
right?
But in this one, it's like a slow burn in that violence.
Yeah, it's just a kindly old gent acclimating to a different culture, and then boom, Punisher Warzone.
Yeah.
If you could add a murder to the movie, is there anything that comes to mind, like a creative kill?
Oh, no, I didn't think about it like that. I haven't put much thought.
I mean, we're talking about a movie where, a gun gets jabbed into a dude's ocular cavity, and a man gets pushed out of a window on a wheelchair while being hanged.
Yeah.
So the bar's pretty high.
But for the car getting hit by a car, it's not the same because one guy gets squished.
Okay, that's true.
And then
That
one guy
is
gets
true.
hit.
The other guy gets hit, and he's just dying anyways.
Yeah,
he's poisoned.
Yeah, the best kills I
Oh,
think
that was sick.
are that he makes the drug mafia man OD.
Poetic justice.
That was another aspect of his kills. Is he times stuff right down to the second. He's like, you got 9 seconds to decide in the opening scene, and then for that poison scene, he's just like, yeah, you have 6 minutes, and he cuts him loose.
He's just walking behind him as
Vengeance.
he's crawling through the streets, foaming at the mouth, and he's like, just walking this guy. Gets hit by a car, you're fine. Keep crawling.
A understated element to the Equalizer skill set is knowing every single language in the world.
Oh yeah, that's important.
Just fucking cuz.
They
Yeah,
didn't
why not?
do his eye thing.
What's the
They
eye thing?
didn't like when he's gonna equalize and like he does like
Oh,
this,
yeah.
the Quicksilver thing.
Yeah, if you watch the other movies, he goes into Equalizer vision where he's like,
Yeah.
I could equalize that guy, I could equalize this guy, and then that will lead to this guy getting equalized. So yeah,
I'm
no
glad they took
equal,
it out. They didn't need it.
no equalized vision.
But there is a POV shot
Yeah.
when he's like thinking back of killing all those guys in the
Oh,
winery.
right.
Hardcore Henry, the guys from Crank showed up and did that real quick.
Oh shit! I just thought of a cool kill that could happen. Okay, so like since he's now poisoning people, he could poison another guy and time it. Since he's like right down to the second, he could time it so the guy like passes out with his foot on the gas and it hits like an embankment and it goes flying through a window in a hotel and kills like a mob guy.
I mean, we don't know that he didn't do that
I know,
because there's
that's what I'm
some mob
saying.
guys dead, and
Yeah, could be on the cutting room floor.
he's still equalizing off screen. Don't think just because you don't see Denzel that he's not equalizing.
Denzel's so cool.
Denzel's cool.
This might be old data, but as of 20 years ago, they said that no other actor on screen has ever had a face as symmetrical as Denzel Washington. They said it's like perfect from hemisphere to hemisphere.
I'll buy it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's why they say he's so handsome.
That's why they pay him the big bucks.
Damn right.
still.
What else is he doing right now? He's just been equalizing this whole time.
He's
off
just
screen.
equalizing.
off screen.
Yeah, it has been a while since I've seen our man in action, but also hasn't because we just watched this movie. So good job. So overall, the Equalizer, all things being equal, is this? Are we going to take the trip to Italia and acclimate to the culture? Which, by the way, is I'm convinced the whole reason this movie exists, right? Like this is the other side of the vacation movie. Like there was like that Clooney and Sandra Bullock movie last year where it was
Yeah.
like, oh, they didn't even have a movie; they just went out here and we're
It
just
was-
watching them.
Julia Roberts.
Yeah,
Yeah,
there you go. I don't know. But yeah, this is the positive side of the vacation movie. So are we flying out to Italia? Or are we going to stay grounded on this one? All things being equal, I'll go out to Italia. This is a fun, dumb action movie. I enjoyed myself thoroughly.
Yeah, I'll go sit in the cafe. To be honest, that town looked really boring.
Nah, I was
It
don't
looked really
know.
boring.
It's a nice place to retire. That's why he wants to live there.
You have to walk up and down like 1,000 stairs.
That's just Europe
that's
in
how you
general.
stay fit.
Yeah.
I guess.
And I don't know. I think like I guess I was kind of confused on that because he's like stranded in this place with no money and just relying on the kindness of strangers, eating out every meal.
Yeah.
No, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. A lot of cafe action going on.
People are just like, no, you don't have to pay because you're friends with the doctor guy. But seems like he's,
maybe overstepping his bounds.
yeah,
on
like
that one.
maybe a little bit.
But no, I don't know. I thought it was quaint.
You don't think he just has money
I don't know.
from equalizing all those years?
He doesn't get paid for the equalizing.
Oh, I know, but I'm saying
He's
like,
just in the equalizing.
like when he was an agent. You don't think he has like a bunch of money left over?
I don't know. He seems to be. He's in it for the love of the game. Man.
He's like in incognito mode there, though. Right? Like they don't know who he is.
He was working at Home Depot. You know,
I know, but I
like-
think that's just to keep face.
Yeah.
That could cover, you know? I'm sure his bank account's like mills, bro.
I'm sure he's got a sledgehammer and he like breaks open the floor and there's just like guns and money and stuff, you know?
He is
Everywhere.
always like flying all over the world.
right.
Just to equalize, like off the books equalizing
yeah.
on
I
his
guess-
own dime.
He is like a no one,
Yeah.
so he could just kind of walk around.
They think he's dead.
Yeah.
Officially. You look good for a dead man. It's a great line. I'll listen to that in every movie. Every time they say that in any movie, in any context, I'm like, yeah, that's cool. Only one day I'll be able to use that line. I don't know on who or what.
Yeah, I was gonna say, who are you gonna say that to?
I don't
before
know.
you Kill him.
No, they think you think they're dead. They're like officially dead.
Oh,
And you're like, you look good for a dead man. I'm like, well, rumors of my death have been greatly exaggerated. You say that too.
The first of two movies where somebody forces somebody else to OD.
Yes, we'll get to that.
Yeah.
in a bit.
I'm going to go to Italia. I'm going to bring Bill Hader, Fred Armisen, and Will Ferrell, and a pack of cigarettes. I'm going to sit in the same cafe seat every day while Bill Hader and Fred Armisen speak fake Italian and Will Ferrell eats pasta in the background. Loved it.
I'll go to Italy, sure.
Bottoms is a film directed by Emma Seligman and written by her as well, along with co-star Rachel Sennott. It is a fourth movie this year to co-star Ayo Edeberry, her playing Josie. Josie and Rachel Sennott's PJ are besties in high school, and I'll just give you the official summary. This is their words, not mine. 2 unpopular queer high school students start a fight club to have sex before graduation, which has all the writings on the wall of a bad movie. And I was like really not looking forward to that because of this kind of string of films we've been getting, like Bros or No Hard Feelings, where it's just like
Garbage R-rated comedy.
Yeah, Strays, for the love of God, where it's like, you know, these kind of crude R-rated comedies, but with like maybe either a species or demographic that isn't usually in them, but they employ the same kind of humor as you'll see in those movies. And I was like, oh, is this going to be another one of those? It's going to be another grown fest, but it isn't. I quickly established that it's like a different, I would say like a different kind of humor. It's a lot more improv based. It's not like, dude, are you going to fart on my balls or am I going to do this bong load? You know, that's not the punchline. The punchline is, I don't know, how they play off each other, the characterization, even the setting. I was immediately taken into like Strangers with Candy territory, where it's like everyone's older and it's no attempt to hide that it's like old people and adults playing high schoolers. Yeah. And like the high school is like just, it's all kind of the way that your mind will kind of transform something, like an adult processing their high school experience, and like everything is just way over exaggerated. Like they're playing a big sports ball game, a football event, and there's posters everywhere plastered with just the main guy shirtless on it and just says "Get horny for the big game." It's like that's how, as an adult, I think you would translate these memories of high school. And so I don't think there's an attempt to sort of present it in any kind of grounded, realistic way. It's this not surreal in like a Pee-wee's Big Adventure kind of way, but
not too far off.
Maybe like I was thinking maybe like Rock and Roll High School, or Strangers with Candy was the big one, where it's like it's not totally bizarre or anything, but it's definitely not something you take at face value or
maybe more like cartoon logic.
Right.
Yeah,
and that kind of lends itself into the violence of the movie. So yeah, essentially these 2 girls who are big time lesbians, they are trying to get, you know, the pretty girls in school to be with them, the cheerleaders, and in their attempt to chase, one of their attempts to chase after them, essentially they are backed into this position where they have to lie about starting a fight club, and they have this kind of reputation as bad girls, which is all just kind of made up. They were trying to, you know, get credibility, so they talked about being in juvie and fighting in juvie, and so thus they are the heads of this fight club and trying to teach the girls how to fight, because this
it's
rivalry.
made as like a self-defense.
Yes.
They keep saying fight club in every marketing, but they start something because it's like, you need to be able to defend yourself.
Right.
And so there's teaching fighting in it.
But they don't know how to fight, so they're kind of making it up. And to great comedic effect, the teacher and proverbial ally, Marshawn Lynch, played by Marshawn Lynch, not actually Marshawn Lynch, but also actually Marshawn Lynch, is there to kind of like supervise the class. And that's kind of funny in its own right, because you just have this teacher seeing, you know, these kids beat the shit out of each other, really, not know what they're doing in terms of actually teaching self-defense. And so you have that little aspect of the film kind of playing up the comedy. And in that, since the cheerleaders sign up for this class, the 2 girls are able to kind of like make their move on them. So on paper, the guts of the movie does have that like rejected Van Wilder kind of script to it. But again, I think it's just maybe the directing or the acting, the characters, it all plays into something very fun and kind of unique. I don't know if I've seen a movie like this.
Did you catch who produced it at the end?
This is your waifu, your new crush.
No.
Okay.
No.
Who? Elizabeth Banks?
Yeah. Well, I mean, no. I just said, I remember like Cocaine Bear was better than it should have been.
Yeah. No, I think she's like a mover and shaker in Hollywood right now. And Ayo Elberry is also someone who's like in everything. So you got
everything,
talent behind this movie. I don't know the other girl, the PJ girl.
I don't either.
Rachel Sennett.
Yeah. Comedian.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. That makes sense. A lot of the things were timing based, obviously. So that makes perfect sense.
Yeah, their interplay was good. And I felt kind of some Clueless energy in the sense that that movie is such a like style icon for a lot of people. And I felt like this movie, all the outfits were cool in a way that I think a modern high school girl would look at and be like, in the same way that, kids in the 90s were looking at Clueless.
And girls and guys in the 2000s were looking at Mean Girls.
Yeah, it's it's aspirational. Like I don't think this is professionally Hollywood styled. I don't think a kid with a high schooler's budget is going to be able to really put these fits together. But I think it provides, an extra level of intrigue to the film or something else to make it appealing and maybe rewatchable.
They actually worked with a guy that sourced vintage stuff. That's why all of her, what's her name? Josie. She has, like slogan T-shirts and rugby long sleeves and things like that. I think all like
I think the stylist was like fifth in the credits or something like that. When they were like showing what everybody did at the end. So it was prominent.
Yeah, for good reason. Put them up. That was another layer to what makes this movie work, I think.
They all look really cool. Boyles Bonner.
Yeah, in the building. But yeah, I don't know. I was very pleased to see. Like I said, I think it was a different style of comedy than maybe it was presenting itself as.
I'm just thinking. With the exception, I guess, of the quarterback, it's not like a weirdly mean spirited the way that a lot of those old coming of age, movies where they're always picking on someone and kind of just being mean. This wasn't really like that. Everyone kind of gets their own, I don't know, silver lining. Yeah, again, with the exception of maybe the quarterback guy. But you're also just supposed to see him as being kind of dumb.
Yeah, it's a caricature.
Yeah.
And I think another thing this movie did well was not overdo it in the attempt to find the heart of the movie. I think Apatow kind of laid down the formula of this where it can have the crudest, most over-the-top crazy comedy. But at the heart of it, you have to have, a character arc and a story and all that. And I don't know that this was especially bound by that. I don't know.
The middle part got into that territory. Like when they sit in a circle and start talking about, being assaulted and
there's like, schism between two of the characters. They fight and break up and then come back together when it's important. But with a lot of comedies, you could tell they don't want to do that. But it's either they're getting studio notes or they're just don't know how to fill the time. I mean, we just saw Strays. I think that was a great example of like you just wanted to tell dirty jokes, but you had to force this kind of emotional thing, and it feels forced to the viewer. None of that felt like a burden or tiresome in this movie, whatever degree it was, and maybe it just was because it wasn't a lot of time spent on it. Didn't feel like, I don't know, overcooked in the emotional department. They kept it, light and funny and silly, which is, I think, greatly to the film's advantage.
I think if you look at like, a classic comedy, like let's say Trading Places, hilarious, but there is an issue, you know what I mean? That's kind of at the center of it, in that particular movie, it's, wealth disparity. This one, kind of talked about how it is to be, or I think it maybe, I don't know if it will, but hopefully it opens eyes to, hey, what it's like to be a young person in 2023, living a queer lifestyle in high school, maybe a little bit, but it's also hilarious.
Yeah, I didn't think that stuff was heavy-handed, and to its credit, I don't think they get into like a victimhood situation at all. These are awkward outsider girls, but it's kind of their own personality that puts them on the outside. It's not necessarily their identity, and it's not something they have to like fight to be recognized or struggle with or anything.
Yeah, and they weren't being attacked for it, especially they thought they were more cool when they started their fight club.
Right.
But there was still like a level of acceptance, in terms of just like, hey, like head nods in the hallway. You kind of see the interactions in the hallway increase as the movie goes, as the girls get more notoriety for their club. But at no point was it, were they like cornered or, wet willied or put in the toilet.
Yeah. I think the fight class aspect, I felt like there was probably a lot on the cutting room floor.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah,
that seemed pretty undercooked, especially like, they go from nothing and they don't really learn ever, or you don't see them like looking up how to do it. It's just all of a sudden everyone's good enough at fighting to beat this football team. Of course, you're not holding this, silly comedy to like strict standards. Like, no, couldn't do that. No, that guy's weight would overpower them in that.
Oh, I'm sure if this movie played in front of, just standard fare audiences, you'd have so many guys saying that.
Right. So you're not like putting the film up to that kind of scrutiny.
Right.
But for them to get to that skill level or comfort level with fighting from zero, it seems like there was probably some montage stuff that they left out. And I suspect it's because maybe that didn't play as funny as maybe they thought it would. Like, oh, this will be funny. We'll just beat the shit out of each other.
They might have also targeted a runtime because this hit it like right at 89 minutes.
Yeah.
So they might have just been like, hey, no more than 90.
Yeah. Let's just keep
Otherwise, it's not a comedy.
Yeah. And I think if there was anything that was maybe seemed rushed or like the pacing was weird, it would have been that stuff, because it seems like it's kind of the central. I mean, according to, the way it's marketed and defined and summarized and everything, you'd think the fighting would be the central issue, but it's like kind of breezed over.
Yeah.
And also like good job, because it doesn't really matter if it's, if it serves the story better to cut all that stuff out.
It would have been totally different too to show them, progressing and finding, their power and strength through, fighting techniques. It's just, it's a different movie.
AO is also in Abbott Elementary.
Yeah, but she's just like a side. Like she's like the main character's sister that shows up like once or twice.
Okay. I was like, yeah, she's in a school again.
Yeah.
She's being funny in a school.
To be fair, she's like in 17 things this year alone.
She technically played a high schooler in
TMNT.
Yeah.
And a teacher in theater camp.
Yeah, I would still put theater camp as the funnier of the two movies. It's not really necessary to pit them against each other.
Yeah, it's just different.
Might even like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles better than this. I don't know, but either way, I think probably going into this with just the lowest of expectations definitely helped me rank it pretty high.
So you saw this alone, Brent?
I went by myself, but the theater itself was it was like people my age, which tend to be parent people age, and just based on how guttural the laughs got, it gave me the impression that maybe a lot of these parents were parents of queer kids, because they just identified with a lot of the nuances of the jokes, which was really cool to see. What was your experience like?
I also saw it alone last night on $4 combo night.
Was there a lot of people?
Weirdly, no, but there was enough for me to be feeling uncomfortable.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
because it was like I'm sitting alone in my little fucking corner that I made for myself in that theater, and it's all couples, and I just feel like they're all looking at me at that point.
Oh, see, like what was weird is because I have a naturally loud kind of unique laugh, and I thought for sure I'd get some people turn around like, "Why are you laughing so hard?" I don't know, but yeah, everybody was just kind of having a good time.
Yeah.
So yes, I didn't feel judged or even seen, which was great.
Had the opposite. Everyone was laughing.
Were you laughing?
No, I laughed, but I don't have a loud laugh.
No.
Everyone else is laughing loud, but in my mind, looking right at me, pointing and laughing.
But
right
did
at
they?
Me. I don't know. They're all behind me.
It's dark.
Yeah, they're all either in front of me or behind me, and I don't know. But anyway, yeah. What was your theater like?
There's only a couple of groups.
Don't remember.
I think there was like some teenagers in front of us laughing.
Oh, yeah, teenagers? That's cool.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, mine was mostly teens too, by the way.
Okay, I was trying to figure out, because I have a niece that's 14, and I was trying to figure out if I should tell my brother she should watch this. But I know it's R. Do you think this is appropriate for like a 14-year-old or no?
I mean,
I don't know what's appropriate for children.
Honestly.
Yeah.
And like, I don't know, there's more fucked up shit they're getting on their phones.
Oh,
anyway.
yeah.
It's like
Who
middle
cares?
school with the internet.
It's like I know she would know all the jokes and get all the references, but, I just don't know like if it'd be of value, if she'd just find it funny. I don't know.
All I know about teenagers is if you want them to like something, they won't. So it's almost better not to. You don't want to have like my weird old uncle told me to watch this movie. I'm obviously not going to watch this movie.
I don't know. It seems to me like if I was 14, I'd probably still dig it.
Yeah, but I'd also want to find it myself if I was
Yeah.
14.
Yeah.
I didn't want nobody to tell me what to watch when I was a kid.
Yeah.
I was thinking that this might be something that gets a lot more, people watching it, like teenagers when it's streaming. Just because, like, I don't even know if they, who cares about an R-rated movie? You go up to the kiosk and you buy an R-rated ticket.
Right.
It doesn't matter. No one's carding you.
No.
So, like,
That's a
I don't
good
know
point.
that that's really a barrier.
Yeah,
But
you just have to hit okay.
yeah.
That's all you have to do.
But for, like, maybe the younger people,
Right.
just watch it on Max.
I
You
mean,
mean like a 6-year-old?
Like a 10, 12-year-old.
I'd say yeah.
In
you
my
need-
head, it's
you
like
need
a
a couple
4-year-old.
digits.
Yeah,
This one seems to be getting a lot of talk. Like I was even on Letterboxd, like AO did a review of it. She says, "Well, I'm in it, so 5 stars." And it's like 25,000 likes. I was looking at the Instagram profile for the movie, and lots of comments, a lot of likes, and their header says, "A movie about empowering women, the hot ones." So yeah, they keep that tone consistent.
yeah, I that did remind me that something that stuck out. I think she did what Jonah Hill did in Superbad, which is like physically take on the shrugging, like diminished form of a teenager.
Yeah.
A lot of physical work to kind of like make her look convincing as a high schooler, and especially coming off of seeing her in theater camp, where she's definitely not like that. It's like, oh, she's like good. That's like you're like supposed to actually act.
In this
That's what
movie,
they do.
she's like Jonah, and then Josie is like Michael Cera. You know,
Sure.
like in terms of if you're trying to do the super bad thing, which
Well,
definitely works.
I just meant the way Jonah Hill walks, all gangly and goofy,
Yeah.
has his backpack on and everything.
Yeah.
It's like a little tricks that you can do that kind of like make your performance more convincing to the viewer.
Because they're all like almost 30.
Right.
So funny.
Yeah, it's great. I don't remember the music. There was something I was going to say about it, but I don't remember.
Oh yeah,
anymore.
it's fuck, who did it?
Charlie XCX.
Yeah, exactly.
And it feels very 2000s, like the big Avril Lavigne song that comes in and everything.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's set. It doesn't say what time it's set in, right?
Yeah, they had flip phones.
Yeah, he had
so,
a razor.
Yeah, so it implies that it was a while ago.
But it doesn't.
It doesn't lock it down. No.
Yeah, it doesn't open up with like 15 years ago. Or
Yeah, it doesn't need to. Yeah.
The lack of phones is kind of a funny, or using those kind of phones.
I guess the jock was using like a tape player to listen to that one song.
Yeah.
Right.
And Kaya Gerber is wearing like a juicy velour.
Yeah, but Juicy's
two-piece.
back.
Yeah, Juicy's back.
I think that's also.
Juicy's eternal. I don't know what y'all talking about back.
I guess
Shit.
that's why it's like also kind of very Instagram Explore page girly friendly, because it's like that the 2000s trending stuff is just again, regardless of whether it makes any sense chronologically, it's just the kind of stuff they like to look at. And I guess probably old Charlie is taking cues from that or whatever, I would guess. But it all worked.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool to see a silly movie.
Yes. A silly movie with a little bit of substance to it. And I could definitely see this one like being a cult classic down
yeah.
the line. It was
Yeah.
almost like
Has all the markings.
made to be be a cult classic, like, which
Constructed
sounds
in a
weird
lab
because
by apparently my biggest Hollywood crush ever.
I feel like the Kids in the Hall Brain Candy didn't set out to be a movie that's appreciated down the line, but I think this is like built to be something that have a cult status, which is kind of strange
Pretty
to
cool,
say.
yeah.
But anyways, does Bottom stay at the bottom, or do you have this one at the top? For me, I'd put this one at the top. This is a good time.
Yeah. It's a top shelf movie. I like that the big reason that they're trying to protect themselves is because they're going to get beat up and killed by a rival school.
Oh, because someone got punched in the face by the rival school and beat up.
Like, what are they like 20 years ago when Punky is like, this guy died, and then 10 years later, this thing happened, and then another 10 years later, this happened.
Yeah, it's pitched as like a fun, as like a school rivalry, but it's like apparently there's murder
Murders,
involved.
actual murders. Speaking of Punky, like there's that hilarious way that they close out that scene where they're talking in front of her trailer, where Punky just goes, and then AO goes, I have no idea what the hell you just said, and then the scene just cuts. It's absurd. I love it.
I just like when you know that comedians worked on a movie because it's funny.
Like The Machine with Bert Kreischer.
I would put this up like they're like neck and neck.
you say
I would say so. They're
like
both
this is
kind of the
almost
same.
this is almost as funny as The Machine.
Yeah. Like I was crying at both of them.
You were
There we
crying.
go.
Yeah.
Oh my god. This is a delightful little movie. I'm not sure if I'll just say this. It's cool to see a movie of this subject matter, not necessarily the fight stuff, but the other stuff, like not be a culture war from what I can tell, which is nice. I was afraid, that, I'd log on and see some people talking about how, this is going to, infect you, or I don't know, maybe it's like fentanyl or something, like you just get exposed to it, something's going to happen to you. But no, it's just like there's acceptance in the movie. Great to live long enough to kind of see a movie where it's not a big deal to be what your main characters are.
I think you only get that kind of person upset if you have like a background character way out of focus kissing in like a Star Wars movie. Then you're getting then you got problems.
Star Wars movie.
Yeah, or if it's like, hey, this one character had sex with someone a long time ago before we started filming them, then they get upset. But if it's like just a really, I think it's like, it's literally called homophobia. I think if you are
exactly.
I think if you are make an incredibly gay film,
right.
that is like very open about what it is, you will likely scare those people from watching it. So I don't think they're. I think this is a self-selecting group that's going to go see this movie.
I think so too. But it's just nice to, I don't know, like at least to kind of see a movie where like it's not portrayed as a big deal.
Yeah,
good stuff.
I'd put this on top. I would say that this is really good. Me likey. That's what Scorsese would say. That's it.
The Good Mother is a film directed by Miles Jory Rafi. The person directed As You Are earlier. Yeah. No second takes. It's written by Madison Harrison, and the director stars Hilary Swank as the titular good mother. She opens up, her kid is died of being shot in by a gun, and as the film goes on, you'll learn that the kid was kind of a no good Nick. He was hooked on the drugs, and at the funeral, she meets the guy's girlfriend, played by Olivia Cook, and that girl was the mom. Hilary Swank blames for getting her son hooked on drugs, which eventually led for him to get shocked. So imagine Hilary Swank's dismay when she finds out that girl is now pregnant with the son of her son who got shot by a gun. And so now they are teaming up to unravel.
You are burying the lead.
Which is...
She walks up to Paige and punches her at the funeral.
Slaps her.
Oh, okay.
And then she's, as she's saying, I'm pregnant.
Yeah. She's like, oh, hey, I'm...
And she's doing, like, it takes place in Albany, and I feel like Hilary's doing some kind of New Englandish accent. It's very, like...
To be fair, that is upstate New York.
Yeah.
So you're, like, an hour away.
Yeah, which is a good setting for, like, an opioid kind of movie. She's like, I wouldn't have hit you if I thought you were pregnant. I'm going to start talking. That's going to be my Hilary Swank voice. I don't think she's doing that kind of voice.
It's not that far
It's
off.
not that much better. So they team up with the Hilary Swank's other son, Toby, who is played by Jack Rayner. And they try to unravel the mystery of how the guy got... Yeah, he's a cop. They're trying to unravel the mystery of how this guy gets shot. And along the way, they find out a fentanyl ring, or no... It's this drug ring. The kid, he was involved in importing this drug into Albany called Mother's Milk. Our second movie this week with branded drugs. Just like in the Equalizer 3, where the drug, the jihad drug that they call it in Equalizer 3, this one's called Mother's Milk.
And I watched them back to back.
Yes. It comes in a baggie with a double M, like a Marilyn Manson logo.
Hell yeah.
And it's it's a mixture of coke and heroin and fentanyl.
It's laced with fentanyl and it's
Yeah.
killing people because they think it's just heroin.
And that kid, he was the guy who got shot, he was the one who introduced fentanyl into the South Side, and it's tearing through. This is like, I think a pitch for an older crowd who, is probably a little frightened of things.
Afraid of fentanyl during Halloween being in the candy or something.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
yeah, yeah.
So this is a good fentanyl scare fodder. And the plot goes on. There's intrigue. Blah, blah, blah. Turns out the good son, the one who was the cop, was responsible for, in a roundabout way, getting the other guy dead. And he's been importing drugs, and he's got all these burner phones. And
He killed Ducky.
he killed fucking Ducky. Can you believe it? You thought it was the guy with the hand tattoo, but it was the
Copy
other guy.
cop.
Yes, the cop guy.
So basically, both sons got caught up in some drug stuff.
Right.
And then were being kind of, I guess, blackmailed, threatened.
Right.
They didn't return some drugs that the bad son
Or no,
had stolen.
the good son was like, I'm not going to sell these drugs because they're laced with fentanyl. And I have more respect for my
yeah.
Albanese fine junkie community
Yes.
than to bring this poison over there.
Right.
And that's ultimately what gets him shot by the
Yeah,
guy with the
it's
hand
just
tattoo.
like fentanyl's just ripping apart the fabric of America, and this movie is just documenting that.
Yes. And I'm really underplaying the fifth character in the movie, Albany itself, as evidence.
When you think about it, Albany is really a character in this
It's
movie.
so
isn't it?
true.
Yeah,
I think they probably rewatched The Wire recently, and the same way
100%.
The Wire does like a lot of like establishing shots of various places of Baltimore where it takes place because it ties into what they're doing. They're doing that, but like just with the Albany Capitol building,
Let 'em
right?
know.
So it's like,
Nobody cares.
yeah, there's a lot of padding out of that, and kind of trying to be a very serious movie. And
Let's get some drone shots of these iconic buildings and the bridges that you can distinctly point out.
I mean, I have been to Albany. I've seen these buildings, and I did think they were weird looking when I saw them. So I could see someone being in Albany for a day and being like, yo, let's put a lot of these buildings in here. Especially if you were trying to stretch out the fucking, basically an NCIS episode into a full-length feature.
Yeah.
Which is what you get here. But I don't know. It's not good. I didn't think so. But it wasn't like punishing. What was that one we watched last week? The Retribution.
Yeah.
That one was like bad.
That's bad, yeah.
This one is not
Good.
I think there's like an attempt at good. It's
good adjacent.
In the style of something that's good. It takes itself very seriously. It tries. And that's I was
It's an okay thriller.
really quickly, it kind of shows you what you're in for when like it cuts to like a junkie guy and he's like shaking, and like everything. And I'm convinced of this the more movies I watch. What makes a movie actually adult or mature or artistic or like highbrow? It's ambiguity. The more shades of gray and less spoon-fed you are as a film, I think the more artsy it is. And I think that's kind of doesn't matter what kind of movie you're doing, that's kind of how you make something actually kind of elevated. And this is not that. This is very much like the good guys are good, the bad guys are bad, and they kind of show you who everyone is pretty quickly until
They do
the
try
twist.
to fumble with shades of gray, right? Justine, with
'cause
like
it's
the mom's decisions and
the boys, they kind of accidentally got into all this. They got in over their heads or whatever. And then the ending is totally ambiguous.
yeah, it's ambiguous as you can get.
Yeah, I mean, on paper,
Yeah, but I feel like they just didn't want to write the ending.
Well, but Colin,
Right.
what do you think she does?
that's a good question. Well, she lights up something. Is it the cigarette that she's been walking around with unlit the whole time? Or is it the expose? God, okay, I'm sorry. I have no idea how hard it must be to be a professional writer in a world where no one reads anything. That just seems like, cause I don't know. I have, since high school been told I'm like a passable writer and like can kind of figure my way out around a page and sentence and all that. But and whenever anyone's like, well, have you tried just writing for a living? I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, I've known people who write and stuff, and it's just like, you don't just get to have that job. And this was like in high school, I was saying this, when there was still like magazines being made and shit.
Yeah,
so you can imagine now, this lady is like a writer on a newspaper, and she's just been in some state of bereavement. So she's been editing, but then she hasn't even been doing that. And then her boss, who has been paying her, presumably this whole time, is like, you know what? Just take as much time off as you want, write whatever you want, and just turn it in whenever you want to turn it in. As newspaper guys are, like that's kind of the general vibe I get from everything I've ever seen about newspaper guys, is they're just like, hey, Peter Parker, if I could have pictures of Spider-Man or anything else,
whatever you're feeling,
anytime you feel like it, that would be terrific. And that's kind of the he just tells her to write about Spider-Man or whatever, and just hand the pictures in or the writing in whenever she feels like it. And that's kind of how the movie ends. She writes about how her son betrayed her other son and how he's a cop, but he's also the guy who's the head of this drug ring and all that. And you're just wondering, that's how the movie ends. It's like, oh, is she going to turn in this expose that she wrote, narking out her son, who I guess kind of seems like a okay guy, other
Except
than
that he
being a
killed
sociopath.
multiple people.
Yeah,
he killed Ducky, dude. And you're saying he's okay?
He's not, but he's presented in the film as okay. She lets her grandson hang
Were you
out
on your
with
phone
him
during this movie?
I was paying it a little bit, but not heavily. Not
Sounds
heavily.
like it.
Yeah,
I
she
checked in a
hands the
couple
baby because they unnecessary for no good reason.
Okay, yeah, I
they
know what you're
kill
talking about. Go
off
ahead.
the girlfriend who's pregnant.
Right.
Kill her off. Save the baby though, and then Hilary Swank gets the baby. Apparently, this girl has no parents, so
She is
she just
a
gets the
completely
baby.
disembodied person.
Yeah, which is a shame. I actually really liked her in this
She was
movie.
good.
But she had to die so the plot could go on.
Yeah, kill her. We don't want too much attention away from Hilary Swank, who is doing a pretty bad job.
She's trying. She's trying, okay? And that's more than anyone ever did for me. No one else has tried. I'm trying in this movie.
Yeah, she's
I'm
like
going to meetings, okay?
she's supposed to be like this working class, has an accent. They don't let her wear makeup. Her hair is plain. She's sucking on a cigarette that she's trying to quit, so she's not lighting it. I think she's going to AA. She's struggling. But then she's a writer at the
successful
newspaper.
editor.
Yeah, like people know her, and she's like top of her game at the newspaper and stuff.
It seemed like society was waiting for her comeback as a writer.
The Albany newspaper reading community is wrapped with attention and waiting for her grand return. I mean, we all have our favorite local newspaper writers, right? Top 3.
Mike Zitz.
We'll hold off on it later. We'll get to that later. We all have a top 3, though, and they're probably radically different, and we just don't want to get into fights about them, but we all have them.
Yeah. But anyway, she ends up taking the baby. She's like walking around with the baby, by the way. Put the baby in the carrier thing and just take it wherever you go. Leave it in the car sometimes. Leave it on a train sometimes.
Oh, I thought you were alluding to the scene where she discovers that her son is a murdering piece of shit, and then it just smash cuts to her handing off the baby to him to watch for the afternoon.
Yeah.
And that's how it ends. Hence, it seems like he's a okay guy or something.
Or maybe she's like, here's your last chance.
Maybe she's sick of the baby.
Enjoy your last day out.
Because I'm going to turn you in. Or will I?
But what was irritating me about this movie was like everybody that finds something out and then is going to investigate some more, they just like will walk right behind the person that they're like tailing, or like this girl is she calls a phone number connected to the death of this guy, and a phone rings that's inside the house. So she's like, what? This guy is the bad guy? So she's going around looking for the phone. This man has just taken a phone call and he's like, I'll be right back. And he goes to the other room to take this call. Meanwhile, she's just digging around his house, like not a care in the world. Doesn't know what kind of like time she has, and she's just doing whatever she wants to do. Hilary Swank follows her son because she's like, I don't think he's taking this stuff to the evidence locker at all. follows right behind him.
Yeah.
Like right next to him onto a train, carrying the baby in
And it's
the
not like she's
carrier.
a plainclothes police officer. It is literally his mom, like the most recognizable
His
person to
mom,
him on the
like,
planet.
30 feet away from him the entire time.
Parallel to him in the parking garage.
Look.
So bad.
Hey, I had my life threatened during this movie
Oh,
by 10 people.
on fentanyl?
Well, okay, so here's what happened. I went in and there was only like 2 people in there, and halfway through, 10 teenagers and then 2 adults just come storming in, like laughing and screaming and just being like, "Ah!" It's obvious they snuck in. They go in the back. It takes them forever to like fumble around. I mean, the movie's pretty quiet, so they're just like, they keep changing seats. They're laughing because they snuck in. They're just like throwing stuff around. And so I didn't say anything or do anything. I just got up and started walking down to go to like one of the front rows so I could just be
get
out
away
of range.
from the
just get away
epicenter.
from it. Yeah. And as I was doing that, one of the theater employees came in and he goes, "You okay?" And I go, honestly, there's a bunch of teenagers that just snuck in. I don't know. He goes, "Oh, let me get my manager." And then this dude in all black comes in, and he
With a gun?
No. I went. Maybe
Did he have a giant skull on his shirt?
Maybe.
Did he have equalizing
Yo.
on his mind?
So we've been going to this theater for like a year and a half straight, every single movie, and I've never seen this guy. This was like a special dude that they brought out, and he comes in with a chip on his shoulder, and he like marches all the way back up. He's really quiet about it, and I see him come back down the stairs. I'm in like the 4th row, and he just kind of comes down. And I just see him stand by the wall. I'm like, "Oh, what's happening?" And then all of a sudden, everybody starts filing down. And they're like, "Hey man, good job narking us out. We're gonna fucking kill you. We're gonna kill you, motherfucker. You fucking asshole. Way to fucking narc." And I'm like, I just start waving at them, like, "Bye." And then they're like, "Yeah, we're gonna wait for you, motherfucker. We're gonna wait." I'm like, "You're gonna have to wait through 2 movies." So yeah, I finish the movie. I walk out. They're not there. I go in the parking lot because I'm an idiot. They're not there. I'm like, okay, they obviously don't wait. But it was funny because like normally I would just kind of shush people, but this time I was like, no, I'll just be the better person and like just move, and go up to the front and not have to deal with this. But I still got threatened.
I
I didn't mean to get him kicked out.
I just can't imagine them like a worse movie to sneak into.
That's
like,
what I'm saying. Yeah, like that was like it was ponderous. I was like, why would you sneak into this when all these other movies are playing?
Blue Beetles down the way.
TMNT, and if you like,
yeah.
there's definitely like sneak-in levels of movies. This is not one of them.
Yeah,
Like,
I mean,
it's boring if you're a teenager.
Yeah, for sure. It's arguably boring if you're an adult.
Yeah, it's just boring.
And it's more than boring. It's perplexing if you haven't like been
watching
keeping
the
up
whole
with
time.
it. Yeah,
You have needed to start at the beginning. For this
yeah,
movie.
absolutely.
Yeah.
It's just that kind of a story. Strays, walk in the middle of it.
There you go.
Walk
Yeah.
in blazed as fuck, and you're fine.
They repeat the jokes, so you didn't miss anything.
Yeah, that's a perfect movie to sneak into because
Yeah,
it's of no value.
Yeah,
you
I
know?
think this group was just born under a bad sign, man. They found the worst possible movie.
But now they'll never know how the movie ended. neither will we.
Or how it began.
Or what movie it was.
That's true. Yeah,
valid point.
they were only in for maybe 10, 15 minutes, but it was a painful 10, 15 minutes. Oh, and of course the 2 other people that were in there, like they thanked me after. I was like, I didn't do anything. I just walked down.
Damn, the 2 people in the theater actually cared.
They were into it.
That's cool.
I think it was like the thriller of the year for them. Because a lot of people probably don't go to see as many movies as us.
Yeah, I think our crowd was somewhat into it.
Yeah, I would.
It's a serviceable thriller.
You said that it was like an NCIS. I was
Yeah.
like, that's exactly. That's why it feels too long,
Yeah.
and it should be an hour. And it really does feel like a Law and Order episode.
Yeah.
And that's why it's easy to watch, but kind of boring because you're like, I get it.
Well, you need it to be that long so you can get more shots of that fucking Capitol building, bro.
Yeah.
It did. You know what though? Even though we say it is TV light, there did feel like there was a good decent layer of grit over it.
There's something. And, Albany upstate New York in general is kind of scary in that like opioid epidemic way,
See, I guess I'm kind of used to like the Finger Lake communities where it's just like very waspy and like affluent,
I guess this is.
But yeah, Albany, maybe some parts of Buffalo. Yeah.
Any place that's been like just ravaged by those drugs is, kind of scary in theory.
Yeah. Was this another one? I'm trying to remember. Is this another one where like the phones would indicate that they're going for an earlier era or an era less?
Oh, like there's burners for
Oh, yeah, it was
the
on
bad
the screen.
guys,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
then you
yeah.
see them having like normal text, like QWERTY texts and messages.
Yeah.
And then you have the girl who has like an iPhone.
Oh yeah, and then Hilary Swank's whole thing is that she hates computers, so she's tech illiterate, and hence
Doesn't know what the internet is.
Oh,
right?
that was a pretty rough moment when the pregnant girl, she's just like, "Hey, does anyone know anything about my boyfriend that got shot?" And just you just see these pop-ups on the screen, like you're getting
They're
flooded
like,
with
oh man,
tips.
I thought that was him. Sorry. R.I.P. a legend was one of them.
I saw that. Yeah. Usually I'm the guy that like poo-poos screens on the screen when I'm watching a movie, but for some reason I appreciated this one because it kept it at under 90 minutes. You know, because it advanced the story. Like when she's texting while she's walking to go meet Ducky.
Yeah.
Like that, if they would have done that through phone calls or meetings, it would have added probably another 10 minutes. So mercifully.
Cut it down short.
Yeah.
There's an important scene where Hilary Swank uses a phone, though, which is when she is directly behind her son that she's been tailing on the train.
Yeah.
And she takes a flip phone photo.
Takes a photo. Yeah.
of
So
him
funny.
interacting
Of like the
with
main
guy.
killer guy.
Yeah.
You know that's just going to look like a
She's
potato.
just standing there now like 6 feet away from them with her hand up,
Yeah.
taking the photo with the flip
Shit.
phone. So good.
Dylan, did you watch this movie?
Did not.
Yeah.
Well, we'll see it when it comes out.
Yeah, I'm
I'll
waiting
get the
for
4K.
streaming.
I'll get the 4K Steelbook.
Thank you.
The Good Mother. Is she good? Or is she a bad mother? Overall, I will say I think she was a bad mother. I was kind of bored on this. I understood what they were doing and everything. But I would not say she was a very good mother. A bad mother.
Yeah. Bad mother. Just an indifferent mother.
Yeah.
Just neglectful.
Overwhelming different. If I have to choose between good and bad, I would say bad. But like realistically, it's a big old whatever. It's fine.
Totally.
But pretty silly.
And like low stakes for some reason. You're not like riveted, like, oh, what's going to happen? She's going to find out who did it. It's one of those, a mother's love, maybe, but she doesn't come across as being like a loving mom. I think she just wants to know what happened.
She's in it for the drama.
Yeah. She's in it to get the story.
Oh.
Yeah. She wants the tea.
Yeah.
That's why I was like, is that what you're getting at?
Apparently.
I'll go a serviceable mother. It was a decent amount of tension, fringed on being a thriller, but she didn't stick the tip of a pistol into a person's ocular cavity, and she didn't kill a bunch of football players. So yeah, just kind of middle of the road for me.
Yeah, minimal equalizing in this, I gotta say.
Yeah, not a lot of equalizing.
The Hill. This one me and Justine went to solo. This is all right. This is this guy Ricky Hill. He was a real ball player. He played ball. He had a bone disease.
Baseball.
He's
Yeah, be
baseball
specific.
sports player, athlete. He's an athletic man. What's his disease? It's bone disease. He got brittle bones. He got stricken with brittle bones at a young age. He had like the Forrest Gump braces, and he had to overcome that to play baseball because he could still hit the ball really good. And he was doing a great job hitting this ball till his brittle bones got in the way. And then as an adult, they said, "Hey, your bones are way too brittle to play baseball, okay, buddy?" And he's like, "I don't know. I think I can make this happen." And also, his dad's a preacher, and that's a big part of it. They're poor. It's the '60s until it isn't, and that's the movie in a nutshell. There, this I would say the two most on rails kind of movies there are is Jesus movies and baseball movies. This is a Jesus baseball movie. So when I tell you they are like just pure cliches, like the whole time, like the entire script is just, I don't give a spit who you think you are. We serve God in this house, like that kind of shit the whole time. It is like that the whole time. Should I cut to the chase and get to the scene? Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, so his dad, for no reason, is just a dick. And he's a preacher guy.
He's a preacher, and he's like, "You're going to be a preacher." And the boy is like, "I love baseball." And he's like, "Too bad. You're not allowed to play, period." Don't pick up a stick. Don't throw a ball.
I think there's like an attempt to show that his dad isn't just totally insane, because he's like, listen, you got brittle bone disease. I watched you have those braces as a kid, and I'm not going to have you breaking your brittle bones playing baseball. So stop.
But the kid's like, I'm not crippled. I can do it still. You need to believe in me. And he's like, and you need to do what I tell you to. I'm going to spank you.
Yeah.
He spanks him on screen?
No.
They cop out.
So he in this kerfuffle, they forge the signature to let the kid play on the permission slip. And his brother's like, it was my idea, Daddy. And he's like, well, then you better get outside, boy. Dennis Quaid plays the preacher guy.
Yeah.
And the kid goes outside. And he's like, Daddy, you can whip me, but I will not apologize for playing baseball, because baseball's cool. And that my brother, the brittle bone boy, should be able to play baseball. Gosh darn it.
He's like, gonna hit him. Go away.
Yeah, he's just overcome. He has his belt and he pulls it back. Like, if you were to like just snap the frame, you'd see a kid in the foreground, like kind of bent over, while Dennis Quaid is in the background, like revved up, and like it looks like it's something it isn't. But yeah, he's about to like whoop him with his belt, but then he just doesn't. But he still can't play baseball. And he tells his kid, listen, you got to choose. Are you going to serve Jesus or are you going to serve baseball? And cut to the next day. The kid goes up to his father in church, and his dad's like, hey, don't interrupt me while I'm writing my sermon. And the boy's like, oh, listen, we got to talk. You told me I had to choose between baseball and Jesus. And then he starts like just facing the screen and just quoting Bible scriptures, just like Psalms 18:22. If you have a good thing that you're good at for the Lord, you better be good at it for the Lord. Like killing his dad with this scripture. And he's like, Dad, look at this. And he holds him a piece of paper and he unfolds it. And the dad's like, what's this? I'm not making this up. This really happens. It's in a film that you might be able to see in the theaters. Probably not by the time this episode comes out. It's a baseball diamond on a piece of paper. He goes, look, Dad. And he draws a line from, first,
second base,
second to home.
And then from
third to first.
And he's like, look, it's in the shape of a cross. Ipso facto.
It is when you think about it.
You must let me play baseball.
Facts.
And then he does.
I mean, it's empirical proof. You make the cross.
Yeah, you said I had to choose baseball or the Lord. I say bofa.
So
Bofa, son, what's Bofa? And he goes, Bofa D's. And he pulls up a baseball and a crucifix. That part didn't happen, but I can't, and I don't.
That's actually a deleted scene that Marshawn Lynch has.
I hate that I said that joke, which is very funny of me to say, but unfortunately that undercuts the actual funnier part, which really happens in the movie, where he draws a cross on the baseball diamond to exhibit to his preacher father that baseball is Jesus, and thus
Basically.
It's okay to play.
Okay, Justine, which of Colin's guns did he hold to your head to make you see this movie?
That it was like 10 a.m. or 3:45.
Oh my God.
Two showings, middle of the day. We've been pushing this movie off for a week.
Yeah. And it was Tuesday. Popcorn was $5.
Right.
But historically, you've been smart enough to not attend these abominations.
It's not really a Jesus movie.
In that, it is on my like Jesus movie D&D alignment chart. I was thinking I would probably call this like lawful neutral.
Yeah, totally.
Whereas a nefarious would be like chaotic evil. Like that is like
yes.
Like there's no swaths of people being denigrated in this film.
Right.
It is about characters who have religion play a role in their life, and it's not portrayed as a bad thing.
So running the bases went harder?
Oh, yeah, because that's, I guess I would call
it persecution.
That's a persecution, and I would probably call that lawful evil, because it's like playing by the rules, but it's portraying like, don't you pray in my school? Like, that's absurd, right?
Yeah.
And that's kind of, there's sort of an
Nobody
evil.
does that.
Yeah, there's somewhat of an evil agenda portrayed there. Whereas just saying, gosh darn it, and I don't give a spit, and like taking out any form of profanity and just kind of portraying.
But overdubbed.
Yeah, you see someone.
So it's more just like Christians making a movie versus like making a Christian movie.
Right, and it could, so the argument to be made here is that the father, who is this preacher and is very like bullheaded about it. He's kind of the bad guy of the movie by standing in the way of his son. Eventually, his arc is that he comes around and watches his son play a game eventually. He comes around to it. But in a sense, you could argue that being super orthodox about your beliefs kind of gets in the way of the spirit of, compassion and other religious stuff. So it's not like, even though they're genuinely quoting a bunch of scripture at you, it's not like everyone who believes in God is really cool and everyone who doesn't is evil. And again, there's not like a guy who he plays it on the team with who's like, I don't believe in none of that. And then at some point he has to like have hands laid on him and pray and be converted. Like that stuff doesn't happen. So in that sense, it's not strictly a Jesus movie.
That's cool.
But it's pretty Jesus-y.
It is definitely Jesus-y feeling in that those movies all have terrible music and terrible timing. Like, always music.
Yeah.
Always dramatic music. Every time a scene changes.
Especially when they don't need it.
What's the percentage of screen time of which someone is tearing up or crying in the film? 65?
Yeah.
That's conservative estimate, right?
Well, he was a brittle boy.
Yeah,
Listen,
there's always something dramatic happening.
Here's the banger. Let me hit you with another one. So the kids just moved to town. And they go up to these kids playing baseball. Like, oh, we love baseball. Hey, let us play baseball. I'm the brother. This is my brittle bone brother. Let us play. And I swear to God, there's like where I find these movies to be a little evil, if I were to argue, like the true evil underneath these films is in omission. Because it's like, there's like a black kid on the baseball team. And
I was going to ask you, were there any people of color in this movie?
We're talking, it's Texas, it's the 60s, it's like hard segregation or like civil rights movement kind of era stuff. None of that is on the film. Not a lick of screen time. There's a little black kid in the movie, but he's not like...
He's just one of the kids.
He's just one of the kids.
Okay.
And like,
He even like tries out for the majors later.
Oh,
There's
Jesus.
one thing.
Go on.
When they first get to the town where the dad's going to start preaching and where the film takes place, because they like moved from somewhere else. So they first get there and somebody helps them because their car broke down and they go to their house. And there's a black lady there working there.
Yeah.
Like a maid or something. And then she refers to the little boy and I don't know what she says. Like,
Calls him sir.
did you like that, sir, or whatever? And he's like, sir, you don't have to call me that. And then his sister's like, if you knew him, you wouldn't call him sir. And she's like, yes, I would. That's it.
Yeah. But so there's still, I don't know, there's something to be said about, what you're not saying in a film when you're portraying these kind of eras, but whatever. There's a lot to talk about there, but we'll glaze over for now. So they're at the thing. There's the brother, the brittle bone boy. Little black kid's like, sure, y'all can play. And then there's this bully guy who's the pitcher. He's like, I ain't playing with no robot boy. He calls him robot boy like 20 times in the movie.
A lot.
And he's like, I'll tell you what, if I hit that ball, you got to let us play. He's like, shoot, I'm the best pitcher in this county. Y'all ain't going to hit this ball. And then the kid goes and it's like strike one, strike two. And then the kid's like flashback to when he was given a hit, a full body rotation is how you hit a ball. So he like punches his brace off
with the bat.
Yeah.
He's like,
So
I gotta get full rotation. Smash.
And so then he on the third pitch, bam, like,
Knocks it out.
Yeah. And so he's like, I don't care. I still ain't playing with you, robot boy. And he's like, you're a liar then. Who's calling me a liar? That's like we're kind of in for with the movie. But yeah, having a guy in braces called Robot Boy is fucking 10 out of 10 bullying.
What year does this take place again?
So that's the funny thing. It's like when nothing is happening on screen, your mind tends to wander. This is the movie I was actually on my phone for. Yeah, it wasn't The Good Mother. Good Mother I paid attention to. This movie I was like, all right. But this is a good movie to meditate on the idea of this concept that when something dies or ends or is over, it gets replaced with an invention of something else. So that's how nostalgia works, right? Or, you think about when a person passes away, like the image of them that gets created in your mind is like of a great human being, like, oh, that was a great guy, because you're erasing all the dickhead things they did because they're dead. They are no longer here. So in their place, a new invention of what that person is takes place. And like the 50s, the 60s, that stuff is the greatest example of like a bygone era that has just been replaced by a fantasy of what it was, you know?
Legend.
Yeah, completely. And this is like such a movie that is obsessed with that legend. And I guess continuing that legend and that lore of, shucks, we're just hardworking folk. So it's like very nostalgic and in love with itself. And I'm just like, where is this fantasy coming from? And why does this fantasy persist?
I think the people that would have that fantasy are dead now.
There wasn't a young crowd watching this film with us.
Damn near dead, huh?
And I'm just like trying to think of this era. It must be like the early 50s or something. And then it cuts to, as he gets older, he's in high school, and they go to watch American Graffiti. And I'm like, hold the fuck on. So then when he was calling him Robot Boy in Austin, Texas, like, the 13th floor elevators were playing. Like, no. I'm not an American history scholar, but like by the time you get to American Graffiti in the theaters, I kind of know what's going on in the world. And it ain't, shucks, gee willikers, Robot Boy.
Especially in Austin.
I know.
Come on,
it's
man.
pretty friggin' ridiculous, man. This film definitely fixated on that period.
But they were in the middle of nowhere.
They weren't in Austin. Why am I thinking of Austin? Maybe that's where the finals were or something.
Powers.
Yeah, that's right.
Gold member.
They were. I was thinking of
Get
how
my belly.
shagadelic the film was.
So flash forward, because the kid's playing baseball. He's like, I want to be in the majors. And they're like, all right, well, you just got to do good in front of these scouts. And he's doing well.
But he can't run because his bones are brittle. And so they're like, we're not going to get you because you can't run.
Like,
which is like pretty reasonable in all fairness.
He's like, but I can hit the ball harder and farther than anything else. And
No,
they're
you
like,
can't.
yeah, but I mean, sure, but you can't run.
Which is like really important at the major league level.
But then he's like, I guess if he knocks it out of the park, he doesn't have to run, right? I mean, he can walk.
The players that do good on like this outside field get to go into the inside field and try out for the big time scout. So the little scouts have to approve you before you get to play for the big scout. And while they're on the little field, he is hitting the ball consistently every time so hard that it goes over the stadium into the big field. And it's like coming close to beating the big scout guy. And he's like, who's hitting those balls? And it's Ricky Hill who's hitting them. And he's like, well, you still can't run, so I still don't want you on the team. And he's like, okay, tell you what. He works out a deal, and this is like kind of the climax of the film, where he gets to be the designated hitter for both teams at an exhibition game.
Yeah, sure.
And that's like the finale is him playing ball.
What a legend.
And like the coach guy who actually does a good job. He's like this surly coach man. He's like standing on the field, like behind the pitcher, watching the pitcher.
He like wants him to fail really bad. So
Yeah,
he's like
I
telling
do
the pitchers
too.
that come out, don't go easy on him. And then he even brings out their Trevor Hoffman, you know, and it's like he's this big guy, he's a closer. He comes out and he's like, finish him.
Hell yeah.
But then of course Ricky
Yeah.
hits
He
the
can hit
ball.
anything, huh?
Especially when his dad shows up to the game.
Oh
His
my
dad
God,
had-
that's like a superpower.
He
Yes.
had said, he's like, I'd never watched him play before, and I used to think it was cool that I did that, but now I'm ashamed. I'm gonna go watch my kid. And
He
so
says
he
that?
did.
I thought it was cool.
Basically,
I
yeah.
used to be proud of that.
Yeah, it was something I was proud of.
I thought it was like,
Yeah.
But no, that's not the part I was trying to talk
Oh.
about. Before he gets to that, like, the major league scouts are going to be there.
Right.
There's some other game he's playing that's supposed to be a big deal. He's an outfielder. He's running to go catch a fly ball, and he trips on a sprinkler head and breaks his ankle. Like, they show it, and it's like a comedy movie where the foot is like bent in a weird
Yeah.
way, and they're like, "Oh, geez, don't look at it; it's really bad." And then he goes to the doctor, and they're like, "It's a fracture."
Yeah. But more to the point, these are the most brittle bones I've ever seen.
Yeah, they're like, "You have to have a bunch of surgery on this ankle, but also you can't walk."
Yeah.
But the tryouts for the big leagues are in 7 weeks or something, and he's like, I can do it. What?
Yeah, the doctor is very clearly like, we can maybe get you to walk. You are not to be playing ball again.
Yeah, but he's like, I'm going to do it anyway. And he does.
Last moment of ridiculousness, I swear. The pitcher guy hits him, hits him in the sides and his brittle bones, and he falls to the ground. And they're like, well, we didn't strike you out, but I guess you can walk. And he's like, no, I'm not going to walk. And they're like, you have to. You got hit. He goes, no, this is an exhibition game. we can do anything we want. And they're like, fair enough, pitch again.
And that's when he gets the home run. And then they just come onto the field and take him away.
Real movie in the theaters right now.
Yes.
Based on a true story, right?
Yeah. So then they tell you he ended up playing for the majors. He got in. And he played for the Expos, though. And then he...
Oh, shit. Low-key shade.
And he played for 4 years or something, and then his bones got the best of him.
Yeah. I thought it was like 2 years. It was a very brief career that Ricky Hill had, but you could, all my Ricky heads can look that up and correct us in the email.
But then they're like, this is really depressing at the end. It kind of reminded me of whatever Sweetwater, was that the movie that Dylan saw?
The basketball movie
where it's like now he drives a taxi or something.
Yeah.
This was like he coaches a little league team and he's a golf instructor. It shows like a picture of him. It's like, don't tell me that.
Yeah,
I don't
that doesn't
know.
help
like,
the story.
No.
And then kick into the most fucking yeehaw ass song, like a country roads and a good bowl of baseball is what I wanted.
Justine, what's the actual diagnosis of this guy's thing? Not like brittle bones.
Yeah,
The fact that we kept calling it brittle bones.
It's like the doctor says it's like degenerative spinal something or other.
There we go.
Okay.
And but generally speaking, he's all like twisted up. So he had to wear those braces and
Forrest
stuff.
Gump syndrome.
At no point did he have a baseball card issued. I'm just checking the bay over here. There's
Well, they
nothing.
weren't tuned in at the time. Ricky, so the overall, the hill, is this a mountain or is this a molehill?
Is this a home run or is this out?
It's a foul ball. This is a foul molehill. It's pretty bad. It's pretty boring.
It is over 2 hours long.
Yeah.
Oh, gee, over?
Yes.
Like
Oh my
217 the hard way.
Fuck.
Yeah, man. It's pretty grueling. This is one in an empty theater with the boys. Will be very funny to bust on. I might bust on it with the boys later, but for actual value of the film, it is pretty rough.
Yeah. This is what? Molehill?
Yeah. Or a foul ball.
Okay.
Or a foul molehill.
Yeah. This is a foul ball that like hits you in the mouth.
Ooh, that sucks. Like you're in the stands?
Yeah.
Damn, that sucks.
It was boring, but also kind of fascinating because
True.
you're watching this happen and you're like, this feels like a parody. It feels like you're watching a parody. You know, the music and the cheering.
People crying constantly.
Constantly
Yeah, and
tearing
there is
up.
no point when you don't think he's going to be able to play baseball.
Right. Hey, Colin, you want to tell us about the best movies of the last 25 years?
So I don't know if you guys will find this as interesting as I did, but I guess Rotten Tomatoes sent a survey out to like a bunch of critics. And they're just like, what are the top 25 movies of the last 25 years? And there's this list, and I thought it was somewhat interesting. I'll go over it kind of rapid fire. Stop me if you hear anything that worth talking about. We got The Arrival from 2016, not the Charlie Sheen one, unfortunately.
You're going from the bottom up.
Yeah, 25 to number 1. Number 24, Black Panther, which big old question mark there. Paddington 2 at number 23. Tree of Life at 22. 21 is Inglourious Bastards. 20 is Zodiac. 19, Lord of the Rings, Fellowship of the Ring, which I think is the first one. 18, the Coen Brothers movie Inside Llewyn Davis. 17, Whiplash. 16, Magnolia. 15, Everything Everywhere All at Once. 14, Moonlight. 13, Get Out. 12, There Will Be Blood. 11, No Country for Old Men. 10, Social Network. 9, The Matrix. 8, Pan's Labyrinth. 7, Spirited Away. 6, In the Mood for Love. 5, Portrait of a Lady on Fire. 4, Dark Knight. 3, Mulholland Drive. Number 2 is Parasite. And number 1, Borat, which I thought was crazy. No, I'm just kidding. It was National Treasure 2. Dan Brown's Angels and Demons at number 1. No, the number 1 movie was Mad Max Fury Road, which I thought was like kind of cool to land at that. Mm-hmm. Interesting take. I don't know if I would come up with that conclusion, but I also wouldn't fight it.
Yeah.
Interesting batch of films, though. Some weird fucking takes on here. I throw it out to the group.
Was
what do you
this
guys
list
think?
based on critics?
Yeah, it was it was like a pretty
Aggregate
big
scores?
number, like maybe 10,000. It was a lot. It wasn't like 20 guys. And yes, presumably it's Rotten Tomatoes, so they aggregate it all.
Yeah. Like the scores kind of like done when the movies came out, I presume.
Well, no, it was done like today, like recently.
No, what I mean is like most of those reviews were probably written when the movie came out, so there's not like the
I think
back factor.
The survey was sent out now, so there was a looking back factor. So it's like, what do you think are the top 25 movies of the past 25 years?
Oh,
that's when they did it. It's not like the top highest rated one.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
That would be different.
Okay.
No, this is
that's
like,
interesting.
Hey, like I think who is it? Sight and Sound.
Sight and Sound Decadal Film Survey.
Yeah, they do something similar where they're like, hey, what are the best movies of all time? That's like the bougie people. They get like really highbrow answers on that. And this one is also limited to the last 25 years of film.
Yeah.
Which is apparently the funniest last 25 years of film. The funniest years of film are the last 25 years. Anything eyebrow raising on this list that you guys took away from?
I'd probably cut 13 of them and keep 12.
What do you got? What do you dislike? What do you add?
I'll tell you what I'd keep. Just keep it positive. I'd keep Fury Road. I thought that was a cool movie. Definitely was a phenomenon when it came out. And I really liked how it was shot in order. They didn't shoot the scenes out of order. It was a linear production, that's never done. So I don't know. That was fascinating. I think Parasite belongs on there. That was a little movie that could. Mulholland Drive I'd keep on there just because, I don't know, I've rewatched it a bunch of times before figuring out that you're just supposed to follow the color red in order to get a different experience. I think Pan's Labyrinth was a phenomenon when it came out. I need to rewatch it. So
I haven't seen that one in a long time, too.
I remember really loving it.
Yeah.
No Country for Old Men belongs on there. Oh, do you have something for Pan?
Still fucking sucks, dude.
Yeah, get him.
Still
Dylan.
fucking sucks.
Listen.
Pan's Labyrinth, my ass, dude.
Negative Dylan.
Why are you
No,
not?
I'm just kidding. That's a good movie.
Loved it. Get Out definitely deserves to be on there. I've got a maybe on Moonlight. Everything Everywhere and All at Once. I think that definitely belongs on there. I'd include Whiplash. It's funny they mentioned Zodiac. Like if you're talking about what's the guy in that? Is it Gyllenhaal that's in that?
Yeah.
Yeah. So like if you're thinking Gyllenhaal, I mean, people would probably also cite Spotlight.
Yeah, and I think Spotlight
It's not on
won an Academy Award. Am I
it did.
crazy?
It won multiple ones.
I remember. I think we saw Zodiac in theaters. I
did too, yeah.
I don't remember it being good, but I also remember it being like a movie. You
Yeah,
know,
but
like,
it was also like it was kind of panned at the time, so maybe it's like in retrospect, people were able to appreciate it. But I would think you would slide Spotlight over it, right? If
yeah,
you're going,
for sure. Or even
If you're going like newspaper movie with Jake
even
Gyllenhaal.
Doubt, I thought was one that was
That's a
like
good
at the
point,
time, clamored for, but
Yeah.
didn't really make the list. Zodiac's a weird one though. We can kind of agree.
Yeah.
Just not a bad movie. Just like okay,
Odd choice for top 25.
25?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I think you'd probably think Bastards is a weird. You haven't seen Inglourious Bastards, right?
yeah, but for reasons.
I guess you could-
I don't know. Would you call that the best Tarantino movie?
No, I think like you could probably slide a couple in its place, honestly.
Yeah.
Like even Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, I think you could slide in there, like that recent one. Arrival's like an odd one, I think, for most people, but I do remember that year, like seeing it multiple times just because it was, I don't know, I thought it was cool. I don't know how well it aged. I need to check it out now. And then, so yeah, those are the 12 I would keep from there. And I would replace the other 13 with obviously Rogue One, because I'm such a dork for that movie. Like I mentioned, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, probably swap in for Inglourious Bastards. Spider-Verse, it's got to be on there, right? The first one?
Jeez,
In terms of novel.
Animation.
Yeah.
I
Because Spirited Away is on there. I think Spider-Verse is better.
think I feel like we're going to pick an animated movie.
I think you got to have some foreign films on there, right? So I grabbed Worst Person in the World, which is from Norway. That film's incredible. Maybe Extraordinary, just because I rated it really high, but I'd need to rewatch it. I don't know if it's like an all-timer. I think The Town, that Ben Affleck movie, should be on that list over some of the other stuff. Maybe GDT's Pinocchio, if you want to go with some crazy animation.
Right.
Michael Clayton should be on a list of, top 25 of the last 25. Like, I think unanimously, a lot of people that watch a ton of movies would cite that as needing to be on there. I don't know why, but I hear that discussed all the time.
Michael Clayton, the movie? I don't know.
Yeah.
I've never seen that movie.
You'd love it. George Clooney, men yelling at men.
I like men.
Phones.
I do like
Come
men
on, man.
yelling at men.
It's all there. Grand Budapest Hotel. If you want to put Wes Anderson on the list, I think that one's there. Time Will Tell on the menu, but I thought that should be in the conversation, just because I like that one a lot. If you want to have horror on there, I'd go with the anthology Trick or Treat. 28 Days Later, that was a massive phenomenon that had a big impact on what horror could be. And then for documentary, I'd toss in The Act of Killing. That's a Joshua Oppenheimer movie that I got to see the New York opening for that. And when he introduced the film, he said, "I'd say enjoy the film, but it's impossible." And it's just basically like, just this brutal ass documentary that is stirring and definitely, I hate to say this word, but it's important. And then my honorable mentions, I'd go Mandy. I thought that was cool. Another cool thing for horror. Barbarian, I thought was another cool thing for horror. There's a foreign movie called Headhunters, which I recently watched, that kind of a diamond in the rough. We mentioned that Rambo movie. I don't think that should be in the top 25, but it was notable.
Yeah.
Let's see. Last Night in Soho was pretty cool, but that's recency effect. I think the Before trilogy, like, it's kind of crazy that not a single one of them is in there. That's that Ethan Hawke, Julie Delpy series that takes place. I mean, there's like before sunrise, before midnight, before sunset. And
I've never heard of those movies.
You watch all you're doing the Criterion Roulette, right?
Yeah. Well, we were until we had to watch all these Conjuring movies since the new Nun movie was coming out, and we had to watch all the Equalizing movies because the Equalizer was coming out. So we've been busy.
You'll encounter them, and
they're watching real
special
films.
It's 3 movies spanning the different phases in a couple's relationship with each other. You know, like their courtship, their marriage, their divorce, and it takes. I think it's Linkletter, but it's like over the span of years. They film it, a decade in between, I think, something like
What's
that.
the one where Kylo Ren just screams at that woman for like a whole movie?
65. He yells at the little girl.
No, that's a dinosaur one. The one where they're like in a divorce or something.
Oh God, the one with the The
Like
Let's have a divorce or something.
Yeah, we should. I think you should leave.
So that was my thought on that list.
I was just kind of like looking over 2000s or like movies from the last 25 years. I don't know. It's weird because there were movies that were like gassed up super hard in their time. That like did you guys forget this, or were you guys just lying about liking it? Amelie is in that range, and that movie was one of the most sucked off movies of its time.
Juno is adjacent to that too.
Juno's in there.
Juno and Amelie, right? Yeah.
Birdman.
Oh yeah.
Little Miss Sunshine.
Yeah.
Boyhood. I would think Eyes Wide Shut would get there just to get the cred.
Is that
right?
within the last 25 years?
Yeah, 99.
Okay.
Uncut Gems, maybe that's recently. Animated, the big, I think even the cooler pulled and Spirited Away, because I feel like that was more of a cred thing.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
And not that it's undeserving or anything, but it's like,
There's better.
oh God, we have to put an animated movie. I think Iron Giant was pretty significant in its time and like definitely had a lasting effect. Adaptation, maybe that wasn't as big for other people.
It was cool.
As it was, but I felt that was recognized. Sideways was a pretty
being John Malkovich was in that conversation too.
That was hyped up. American Beauty, like that wasn't that an Academy Award winner? Dallas Buyers Club, y'all just forgot about that movie entirely. Argo, you forgot about that movie. Black Swan lives on in infamy in like Pinterest boards and shit. But Slumdog Millionaire won against The Dark Knight when it came out.
People would not stop talking about that.
And it is for 2023. It is forgotten entirely.
Wow.
I thought it was crazy not to. I mean, I don't know. I guess I got boy movies on the brain, but Wolf of Wall Street, The Departed. The Black Panther one is definitely like gun to your head. Pick a superhero movie. Yeah. Like Logan, that to me, I think is if you're going to pick a bougie
elevated
superhero. Not that The Dark Knight isn't, but like if I had to talk MCU, I would still put like Infinity War or Civil War. I thought was a pretty impressive MCU. I'm not saying if you have to put an MCU movie in there, what do you put in?
Probably Black Panther.
Really?
It's just so different, and like you don't have to have watched all 20 movies before you can watch that one. It stands on its own.
Winter Soldier is pretty lore dependent.
Yeah, that's the problem, is none of these movies stand alone. You have to watch them as a whole and then judge them as a whole.
Yeah, I guess you're only crying about Logan if you've spent your adolescence watching every 16 different X-Men movies.
But it's cool in an Equalizer way, too.
Right. He equalizes the shit out of those guys.
Yeah, he does.
I know, I get that Pan's Labyrinth takes up the spot, but Pacific Rim, man, come on, Shape of Water, y'all gave that an award.
Too weird.
Yeah, they're scared. They don't want to.
They put Pan's Labyrinth in there already.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know, but I'm just saying, is if you're gonna,
Yeah, I might swap out Pacific Rim for Pan's Labyrinth.
yeah, fuck it. GDT gets 2.
Yeah,
It's 2.
Why not?
I thought that I'm still caught on The Big Short. I don't care what anyone says. I think that's a huge movie for me. History of Violence, Eastern Promises. Are these films jokes to you? Can't believe they would. But I have a quadrilogy of comedies, and I don't know. I guess any of these would go in. But I just kind of like looked at a bunch of movies from this era, and I was like,
you have to.
Fuck, Idiocracy, Step Brothers, Superbad, The Big Lebowski. Putting the Llewyn Davis one.
Yeah, that's one of the weaker ones, honestly.
The Big Lebowski is in the time frame. And it's like, again, you just don't want to be thought of as the
basic
liking the Coen brothers movie that stoners also
that
like.
everybody likes.
Yeah. So you're just being too cool for it. But I mean, that's the one to me. I don't know.
And I think that's the one to most people, honestly,
Right.
because that's the one that gets referenced. It's such like a cultural touchstone.
Like, I don't know. I mean, obviously, if we're going all time, that wouldn't be the one. But like last 25 years,
Yeah,
Come
within
on
the last
now.
25 years. Yeah, because I would go Raising Arizona, but that's not within the range.
I don't know. Fargo came out before that.
It's like
probably.
on the cusp.
Right.
I looked at it. Yeah.
Dylan, you like seeing Paddington 2 on this list?
Fucking, I was so happy.
Is that? Am I crazy for thinking that's weird?
I haven't seen it, so I can't comment.
Great movie. It is a good sequel.
Yeah.
You've seen Paddington 1. You saw like what the
What they're
shots
capable.
were. Like, remember that scene where they showed you the family members in the house, and they're like in a big ass set of the house, and they're just like, one of them's taking a bath, the mom's like cooking some shit, but they're like zooming in, and then they'll zoom out, and they're still doing it. 2 was crazy, bro.
I'm definitely gonna check it out.
I feel like well, Justine, I don't know. You deserve to bring this one up, but Coraline or
yeah.
Corpse, even Corpse. Oh, Corpse Bride kind of sucks.
Yeah, that's not good.
It's like your
Visually,
Corpse
it's-
Bride?
Coraline's
is-
great.
Yeah, Coraline's the positive side of that.
I just have a hard time thinking of what is in the 25 years. What movies came out in 25 years? And I think some of these are weird just because why? Like The Arrival, I think is weird, even though I like the source material. I also haven't seen a lot of these because they seem boring. So
Yeah, that's what's the love one that's at number Mood for Love? That one any good?
Oh,
Has anyone seen that?
no, but I saw it streaming. I mean, I saw that it is streaming.
What is it? What's it on? It's one of the best movies. I'll watch it. I'm a real cinephile over here. If it's good, I'll see it.
If it's not good, you'll see it.
Yeah, it's true. Portrait of a Lady on Fire. I haven't seen that one either.
I
Hulu.
don't know if you would watch it though. I guess you like subtitled movies.
I can watch it. I'm not a complete
Did you see his
buffoon.
reaction when you said that?
Have you seen it?
Like a long time ago.
Mood for Love? Yeah. Okay. Social Network's weird. Again, I
don't agree with
in a
that
world
one.
in a
Yeah.
world where The Big Short exists, I'm not accepting.
Right.
I like The Departed too. Is that too like fucking get in a fight with me somewhere?
I'm sure somebody would, but not me.
I feel like that was I don't know. I guess I'm a Scorsese head. I just want my man to get some sort of juice.
Do you remember that King Missile song about Scorsese?
No.
The lyrics are, he makes the best fucking films. He makes the best fucking films. I want to bite off his nose and then bite his head off. And it's just like, it just gets more and more violent. Shout out King Missile.
I don't disagree.
It was on a major label. It's weird. 90s were crazy.
There's no just like comedy.
Yeah. I mean, I thought Magnolia was funny. I guess, or wait. Oh, they didn't put American Beauty on there because they're afraid of Kevin Spacey, right?
Yeah.
Even though
Cowards.
everybody wouldn't
Again, they-
stop talking about that
Yeah.
movie for forever.
I haven't rewatched it since it came out, but I've heard that it doesn't age well either. Not because of Kevin Spacey, but
Because I think everyone knocked it off. Like it's just been ripped off so many times. It was like what do you call it? Like the dissection of the suburban tranquility and the. But the real Chads at the time were watching Happiness, which was even in its
it's true.
time a better version of
It was.
what American Beauty was doing,
Yeah.
and I wouldn't be opposed to putting on the list. But that's
I like
me.
your adaptation pick. That's a good one.
Lord of the Rings is weird too. Why are you pretending? Like, why not a Harry Potter movie then? Why not a Twilight movie? If we're just like naming,
Not as good.
That's not
Peter
even
Jackson, bro.
I love those fucking Lord of the Rings movies. It's just odd to see on the list.
I guess it's like impressive. It's so epic.
Tree of Life, good. I haven't seen that one.
Yeah, it's long form.
I get that one and Cloud Atlas confused all the time for no good reason. I know they're very different. Cloud Atlas should have been on here. That movie, there's like 5 movies in that movie.
Yeah.
Bang for Your Buck, it's called.
What about this La La Land? Everybody wouldn't stop talking
Yeah.
about La La Land
Apparently
and
not good
compares
enough.
everything
That might
to
have been more of a
it.
trend than like an enduring title.
I want to be like the incel guy who gets this and just puts Drive, like Drive the Joker.
Driving Mrs. Joker.
Right. Yeah, there was no like literally me movies on here.
B movies?
Literally me movies.
Oh, literally me.
Yeah. I
Put
guess
B movie in there for real.
Yeah.
Yeah, where's B movie at?
Jerry Seinfeld?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Capote?
That was a talked about film.
Yeah.
And I don't think I've seen that one either.
What would a modern B movie that plays in theaters be?
Oh, I mean, we've seen.
Renfield?
Yeah, I mean,
But
that's
it's like
I feel like
it's
that's a
expensive B movie.
that's a gentrified B movie.
Yeah.
The Mean One or fucking Terrifier 2. Those are like
okay.
real.
You're right.
in the fucking Gutty Works. And like,
Can't wait.
you don't want to put fucking flowers on their name, but these Jesus movies, those are the true fucking like, bro. You can't tell me Nefarious isn't like one of the most. I mean, fucking what's the goddamn the kids?
Those are C movies for
What's
Christ.
the kids getting molested movie? The fucking
Sound of
Save the
Freedom?
Yeah, Sound of Freedom. I mean, that's a classic model exploitation film right
Yeah.
there. Yeah, those are B movies, but they get so sucked in with like the culture war BS, you don't consider them that. But those are classic model exploitation films.
Yeah.
But they would have you believe that it would be like a Megan or a Talk to Me, but those are too
Those
highbrow.
are like mid-budget.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Eternal Sunshine.
That's spotless.
Where
Mind.
was that? People were talking. People
Lost in Translation.
Jesus.
That was a phenomenon.
The Terminal.
Yeah.
Terminal.
Yeah. That had its moment,
I
but
love that movie, dude.
Would you legit put that on top 25?
No, but it's a great movie.
honorable mention from
What do you
Dylan.
think? What do you think of the
10
list?
items or less featuring Morgan Freeman. Very small indie film that he was in. Like
Dude, I've never even heard of that.
1 hour photo.
1 hour. No, you want to know my list?
Oh, you have a real list?
Yeah.
I'll listen.
All right. These are the movies I would replace. I would replace Arrival, The Tree of Life, Inglourious Bastards, Zodiac, Lord of the Rings, Inside Llewyn Davis, Social Network, Mulholland Drive, Magnolia. And if I could just take 2 off because I'm indifferent about them, is There Will Be Blood and No Country for Old Men.
Yeah, those are two. It's really funny that those are in succession on the list. I swear to God, you think of one and then you remember the other,
Yeah, right.
and
Yeah.
like they're both fine, but I kind of would say just so.
And
Anyways.
what's the dude's name from There Will Be Blood? Daniel Day-Lewis?
Right.
Kills it.
Oh, of course. No, they're good movies. I Drink Your Milkshake, bro. I remember.
Yeah. If I had to replace them, I picked Punisher Warzone.
Right.
Yeah.
We were talking about it, and I was like, oh, yeah,
There's
that's
your
a great
MCU answer right there.
That's my MCU answer.
What's up?
Right.
Crank 2,
Yep.
Saw 3D,
Oh, nice.
Fast and
AKA Saw 7.
Dude,
All
you're
seven.
gonna have to slow down because you're just crushing it right now.
I'm sorry.
You know what I mean? Like it's unbelievable.
Fast and Furious, Tokyo Drift,
Damn,
specifically the
good
third
call.
one.
Good call.
The art house version.
Yeah.
Or the art house.
Oh, there's
kick.
that B movie I was looking for. Yeah.
And I forgot, Colin reminded me about my favorite, what's his name?
You tell.
JG, what's his name?
Oh, GDT.
GDT.
Guillermo del Toro.
You reminded me of my favorite movie of his, Shape of Water. I would throw that in there, honestly.
Yep.
But I would keep Pan's Labyrinth. That's a good movie, too.
Yeah.
Shrek 1 or 2. I'll take either one.
Okay.
May, underground horror film.
Jesus. Okay.
Dude, what a
respect.
poll. Yeah.
Respect.
Okay. Yeah, I respect that pick.
Mystery Men.
Ouch. That's
You are-
that Stiller movie, right?
You are an
Yes.
animal.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
But
You're
to
a freak, dude.
To replace the one-offs, which would be the No Country for Old Men and There Will Be Blood. You put a gun in my head. It's like, you can replace those two, which you're doing right now.
Oh God,
I
put it
would
away,
prob-
dude. That's a fucking sketch.
I would probably put Zoolander. I would say Zoolander, and then the real outsider is Cable Guy. Like if I was being honest, I understand you're not supposed to put those kind of movies on these lists, but if I was really being honest, like those are up there with my comedy picks. At
You're
least.
putting Mystery Men. They're comic book guys, dude.
Right.
Pee Wee Herman. And we're going to put Gridiron Gang featuring The Rock and Exhibit and some kids. And Chronicle. That's right, dude. That's some underground film featuring our boy Michael B. Jordan and Dwayne Duhan and some other guy.
Yeah, was he like a kid in that? Like young?
I think he must have been just like 20.
Chronicle. I didn't really know
Like
that
2012
movie.
or something. Dude. I was like
Okay.
in high school when that movie came out. Changed my high school classmates' lives. They wouldn't shut the fuck up about that film. And I understand, bro.
What was that vampire one that was so big? The You'll Never Walk Alone After Sunshine or whatever?
Let Me In?
Girl,
A Girl Walks Home Alone at Night.
Okay, I'm getting them
that's not
confused.
worthy of top 25, though. That's just
Bro, I'm not listening to you if you say 28 Days Later is in there. You're going to jail for that pick. That's a
28
wild
Days
one.
Later is better than A Girl Who Walks Home Alone at Night.
I don't think I saw that one, but I think what was the other one? What was the other one that you just said?
Let the right one
Let the
in.
right
Let the right one in. I
That
think
one's good.
Yeah, I think the foreign version of that.
Even the
Yeah.
American one
Yeah.
is like a decent
I
retelling.
like the subtitle one of
Yeah.
that. That was like that was some good bougie horror.
I'm
Would you
trying
put-
to see a Dylan Zapata remake of Mystery Men. That'd be cool.
I work with Ben Stiller.
How do you remake perfection?
No,
This dude knows how to. He does
sadly,
shot for shot, like shot on camcorder though for IMAX.
And sadly, our boy Mr. Smash Mouth is dead,
Rest in peace,
so he
legend.
can't redo the music video with him.
There's
Rest in peace.
There's some funny bits in that movie. As a Stiller head, like I respect that pick.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to butcher it if I try to quote it, but I'll just say that Mystery Men has a couple laughs.
You know, I remember that movie.
Why is that?
But my homie's coffee shop, he just has that VHS and was playing it. I got sucked in for a minute.
Respect.
And there's no volume. I'm just like watching it. Just
Yeah.
like, dude, this
A
is
good
sick.
movie you can watch without the sound.
Isn't
Yeah.
William H. Macy the spoon bending guy?
Yeah.
That
I,
sounds familiar.
I think that's his homie.
Was that an original IP or is that?
Oh yeah, that was ground up.
That's so cool.
I know, and that was like post Blade, maybe
yeah.
post Steel, post Spawn, but like pre X-Men Spider-Man. So it was
Yeah.
like in that, and I think it lost a lot of money.
It did.
So it was very kind of one of those movies that pointed to like why they didn't make superhero movies for a while. I was like, well, we put that shit out and that didn't work, and fucking still rubbing the stink of Batman and Robin out of here. I don't think that was in the last 25 years, but that might make my top 25. Batman and Robin, that is.
All of the Planet of the Apes new ones.
That's a hard. I was.
Rises and the Dawns.
Yeah, Rise, Dawn,
Yeah,
War.
Rise is kind of a perfect movie, but that's also I'm saying recency bias because I just rewatched that. But man, that was a banger when
When
it
did
came
you
out
rewatch that?
last week.
2
or
weeks
something.
ago, something like
yeah,
that, yeah.
I was on a kick. I just watched those two, and I can't watch War because it's not streaming anywhere. So I don't know how it ends. I
Want me to
also
tell you?
remember not liking that movie. So
I can tell you how it ends.
with the apes,
They rose. They roared.
District 9.
you
Oh, that's a good one.
is that on your list?
Yeah, for sure.
Oh, did you like Session 9?
What's Session 9?
It's that mental ward horror movie from New England. It's like a small budget. Did you ever see that?
Is that the one with the iPhone?
No.
Am I thinking of something else?
No, you're thinking of something else. Session 9 was like legitimately scary.
It's just like two guys
And they're what?
looking around
They're
an
in there.
abandoned.
They're in a bathroom and they're chained, and one of them has to saw his leg off.
It came out when I was like mid or late 20s, and I watched it with 4 other adult men of the same age, and we stayed up in my living room all night and would accompany each other to the bathroom because we were so scared.
Respect. I'm
See?
surprised you didn't have Shin Godzilla on this list. I would consider putting it on this list. I'm
I
surprised.
mean, yeah, but if you're gonna put Pacific Rim in, I mean, these are like American centric, you know what I mean? So
Yeah,
like, I don't know. I was
suppose
kind of
so.
like, I was kind of in that zone, and I just tossed in a couple like foreign features that are like more like drama.
That Shin Godzilla really had a profound effect on me, and that's as someone
so
who
good.
has barely seen any Godzilla movies, and that one is like had a huge impact. They're doing a new one.
Yeah,
Minus one?
Yeah, -1. Yeah.
Steen, you got any input here?
I can't think of what has actually come out in that span of time.
You like this list though?
Like I tried looking at. No, I don't. I think it's lazy.
Yeah, in what sense?
They're all movies that
What's lazy about putting everything everywhere all at once in the top 25
Yeah.
best movies? What's lazy about that?
Won awards. What are you talking about?
Yeah,
I'd
what's
keep it
lazy
there.
about that?
Parasite, the year before that. Yeah,
I'd keep it
obviously.
there.
Yeah,
It
that's
was
the
really
number
great.
2 movie.
Yeah, number 2. Mad Max, I really like as being number 1.
That's
though.
a really cool pick. It's
is
like
really good.
smart that it's weird that they kind of like,
It's surprising that other people would think that it is good because it's so cool, you know?
yeah.
I guess I am sad that the only like sci-fi movie here is The Arrival, which wasn't really that good.
Yeah, but what do you put?
Yeah, what would you
Well,
swap
I mean,
in?
Well,
Black
there was
Panther's a
like
sci-fi
Interstellar, Gravity, Moon, there were
Interstellar's a
all The
big
Martian.
omission,
There were
yeah.
a lot of movies that were kind of the same that came out around the
Yeah.
same time. That's kind of weird that they.
I feel like
didn't put
Interstellar
in.
resonated with people more than The Arrival.
It's also kind of weird that there weren't more foreign films. Mm-hmm. I guess they should have put a caveat on.
Yeah, they should have really
on some of these.
narrow
really.
narrow the parameters a bit because it's
Yeah.
hard to like really tackle something like this, but with just going, oh, it's every movie from the last 25 years. It's like, dude, there's so many.
Yeah, and I agree with that. Zodiac is a real weird one because it is just a movie.
And yeah, actually, Spotlight beat Mad Max Fury Road for Best Picture.
That's what I'm saying. Like, yeah, if you're-
And
like,
Spotlight wasn't a bad movie by any means. I could totally see that putting on that list. But again, it just shows that it's weird.
yeah, just swap out Zodiac for Spotlight if you want to. Like, I don't know.
a bunch
Where's
of-
M. Night Shyamalan on this list?
Underrepresented is where he is.
Yeah,
That's
totally
the
overlooked.
twist. They're gonna publish the real list next week.
So rude.
Anyway, I guess that's all we have for this week. Dylan, why don't you tell the people what we're watching?
Hey everybody, thank you for listening to this week's episode of the Regal Movie Masters Unlimited. And this is a line from the trailer itself I saw with my own 2 eyes. Dear God, The Nun is back, bitch! That's right, The Nun 2 from the Conjuring franchise. Halloween is coming early, and let me say I am scared already. Speaking of sequels, we're back with our favorite Greek family, the Portokalos, in My Big Fat Greek Wedding 3. But this time, we're actually in Greece. Then we got this movie. Aristotle and Dante discover secrets of the universe. This one looks pretty good, and I'm looking forward to it. Anyway, guys, see you all at the movies. Bye.